Welcome everyone to another recording, another backtesting session. As you can see from my charts, I haven't moved on from the last session that we had, which is the normal thing to do. Today in sort of real life is CPI, so it's typically a day that I don't trade. So we're going to continue with backtesting. Like I said, there was a lot to take away from the last session. Missed opportunity, you could say. And what it did was highlight an area of my trading which to be improved, which is just to simplify and accept. And what do I mean by that? Simplify my entry criteria and accept that if you do not get the entry and price moves away, then you just miss out the trade. You just miss the trade. I for one have been someone who, you've gone to all that hard work to formulate your trade idea, that you really want to get involved. You really, really want to get involved in the trade. And sometimes the art of being a successful trader is just accepting that sometimes it just goes without you, and there'll be another bus pulling into the stop down the line. So there isn't any reason to push the market. One of the things that for me I'm going to aim to do moving forward within this session is concentrate on purely two entry criterias. One being obviously my primary entry criteria, where I want to get in at close to where I feel is optimal. The second would be if a continuation play exists, well, then getting involved in the continuation. So that's going to be the two. I'm not going to sort of overcomplicate as such that criteria. It's unnecessary. Doesn't need need it. But ultimately, that's what I'm going to be looking at. So we're going to keep rocking. Going to keep going. So as we can see, we've got it's a Friday, so we don't trade Mondays. So we're going to fast forward to Tuesday London session, okay? Because I don't trade Mondays. So we're just going to go to next day, which I think we can, which will probably be Sunday. And then we'll go to next day again, which will probably... So as you can see from a trade perspective, we certainly would have hit target. So that's Monday. Right, okay. So we want to go to next session. And then we want to go to next session again. Right, there we go. And that should be... Yeah, there we go. Okay. So I want to venture out of the... let's have a look. Let's have a look-see. Okay, so we're going to... go on. Let's clear up our charts. Let's get these off. Okay. And then let's take a view. So I'm just going to drop down to the 4 hour. So yeah, okay. So I want to first off identify key daily lows, being that one. that is okay. So that'll be that, and we've got some highs there, but ultimately I think that should suffice to, yeah. Okay, I just want to get the aligned liquidity pools like so. We obviously traded up into, oh god, my fans on this PC, apologies. Let's just take it up to the end of, yeah, let's go to there. Oh, because my fans are just whizzing like that, it's slowing down. Okay. Want the aligned, which is there. Beautiful. And there is one here. Oh. Okay. Oh, sorry. Screens are going to go off. Okay. And the reality is, because we should really let's just get our levels. Good grief. God, I need to get a better PC. I mean, look how slow it's moving. That might explain why FX Replay seems to click on an extra few few candles after I've pressed pause or what have you. Gee whiz. Okay. Okay. So keen just to see these highs. Just going to see what that level is. Okay. That's that. Okay, but first, here we go. Jesus, this PC's massively frustrating. So yeah, slightly. That's going to be the true high, but we'll mark that one up for now. Still need to trade through the CB. Okay, so I want to pop back to the 4 hour second. Q1. So that just gives us an idea of where we are, and we will put the same thing for now. Again, we've had no reason yet to refer to that. So more importantly, let's drop down to the 4 hour. Sorry, I'm gonna have missed something. We do have a volume imbalance here, which I think is important. There's a couple of other things which actually are important to highlight. So yes, the volume imbalance there. Let's oh god. Sure. They are so. Do I have something for a volume imbalance, to be fair? Let's see. Let's just do it this way. Let's go with orange because we're not. Okay. We want another one in here. And we want one more in there. Perfect. Okay, so volume balances, check. Right. So, and the final sort of piece to this puzzle is where we had reaccumulation of shorts. Oh my goodness. This is frustrating. Because as soon as we traded above there, okay, right. We're finally getting somewhere. Right, let's get ourselves situated. First things first, we want that candle. Okay. Right. Okay, let's have a look. See what we got. So, highlight tool. Yep, that's that. Yep, that's that. Which means that why all of a sudden has that'd be why. What? Oh my lord. Can someone explain to me what is going on? Right, can we finally, let's just get back with the program. That was high, that was low. Yeah. So we've got high. And then we've got, I'll mark these in. Okay. Fine. So now we can mark out our previous day's high. So that's Monday's high. And previous day's low. Okay, so we've got some levels, and I'm going to mark up this level here, Q5, because it's the most recent one before the purge of that old low. I believe anyway. I think this is the key one. Right, and then obviously we've got what we've got above the market. So far we could say encouraging. Now remember, this is the first day of the new month. We've got news, non-farm payroll this week as well, so there's quite a bit. But what we're going to start off with is, as we always do, let's take some analysis, take some stock, and let's see if we can continue. Okay, let's rock and roll. IOF. Okay, so hold on. What I haven't done this in. Okay, so following the high time frame, SMT at the lows, coupled with, well, actually let's do the high time frame displacement initiated by the high time frame SMT at the lows. This is currently to the upside. Okay, highline or headline level that. Now so just want to get this oh, okay, perfect. Okay, and this one as well for completeness. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so bullish fair value gaps being repriced and rebalanced, or being left unfilled. The market showing to reprice higher. Okay. Furthermore, old lows being manipulated whilst old highs being displaced through. So I need to go and give my daughter a medication, so I will be right back. Okay, so we're back. I've got to remind myself what I was in. Oh yes, being displaced through. So yeah, more confluences to support institutional order flow, being bullish, and we also have a high probability order block down here as well now. As an additional confluence. So IOF checked. So ERL, IRL. Again, I'm just going to pop back out to the daily for this. Just think it. So we took out lows, seeking turn range liquidity, traded through this initial SIBI. We've now traded into this one. So if we're going to see higher prices, then I want to see a correlation at the lows. If we're going to see lower prices, then ultimately I want to see it from the highs, and I want to see it really happen from within an aligning SIBI. So we've got potential for downside. So I'm going to make a note that following the purge of sell side liquidity below the old low, external range liquidity, my immediate attention turned to internal range liquidity in the form of the SIBI dailies above the marketplace. The market has traded into the higher SIBI IRL. One thing to note, now I'm going to revise this. I'll tell you why from here. Because wrong one. So I'm using from this key level here because we had reaccumulation take place there. So that is a real sensitive area. So mark it like that. As you can see, reaccumulation where we rebalance this SIBI. So to me, that's a key price level. So I want to start the high from there to the low, and as you can see, price traded into the first of the SIBIs within a premium market, and the same with NQ. Okay, so that's why our focus would have been here, not so much this one, although this one would have given us, you know, a level of comfort to confirm that we're gonna be trading up into here. Okay, so the market traded into the higher SIBI, which was located within a premium market. My attention now would be determined by where I note the next high time frame cracking correlation to determine which liquidity pool is in the crosshairs. So I'm waiting. No need to rush. We're just going to wait. Okay. TOs. Drop that down to Personally, I think higher prices are in the offering, but we can't always be too confident with that. Bear with me. Okay, so from a TO standpoint, let's have a look. Technically, they're trading above, we could say. Okay. So all members are above their respective true week overs, which supports the idea of high probability shorts. Bearing in mind that the market is in a high time frame PDRA. Okay. SPs. So we've noted clean and clear swing points at the highs and lows. However, with price above the true week open, this could support lower prices. Okay, and currently there's no high time frame cracking correlation, so we're not going to worry ourselves with that at present. So that's where we're at. Okay, now I'm just gonna drop down to the hourly, and nothing has formed as of yet. So not looking likely. Well, actually, you can never say never that something couldn't form during the London session. So let's be mindful of that. Going to stay on the hourly. Use a 15-minute. Just going to play forward. I haven't marked up any key. Okay. We've had a purge. Okay. Right. So, right. So we're looking. We're in the London session. Change that to 5. Haven't necessarily purged any hourly liquidity pools, but the daily naturally is a key one. sorry. So the daily's is a key one. So we're going to forward on just to see what we get. So that's the high. It is a little bit okay, let's see. Well, actually, yes, we want that, but important just to go and check the okay. Okay, so we've got BPR here. Gee whiz, my PC is frustrating. Okay, let us do this. Grab that. Got the same thing here. And okay. Right. So it's important just to acknowledge, to identify that before we sort of move forward. Just bear with me. Just get the impression we've got some engineers coming to the house today to do some work, but not sure what time. I just don't want them to turn up in the middle of this recording. Okay, so moving it on. As mentioned, we've got. Let's just. Why is that? Oh my goodness. Okay. Hopefully we don't get that again. Well, now we just get it on the other side. Superb. Right, okay, finally. We got there. So potential SMT, all members above the True Week Open. We've had a purge of the previous day's high on NQ. Failure to do so thus far on the other members. However, the reason why I'm not keen is we haven't purged an hourly swing, an hourly liquidity pool, which at a bare minimum is what I'd want to see on any of the assets that create a failure swing. Otherwise, where was the liquidity purged? Now, yes, you could use the M15, but for me, in terms of my model, it's an hourly. So this for me is not representing a trade scenario per se. So let's just play it on. It wouldn't surprise me if we see higher prices, but you know, again, could be completely wrong. And there we go. So that, just gonna drop to the hour, come out to the hourly. So that for me made a whole lot of sense. We had the balanced price range. We had no H1 liquidity pool purged by all members. Yes, you could say on YM here, but if we're looking specifically at NQ and ES, there was none. So there is the likelihood of higher prices here, unless we see something at the highs. So I'm going to forward this on. We're going to go to the 15. Let's forward it on. Good grief. These fans. So we just paused it there. We're at 4 o'clock in London. Just venturing out to the 4 hour just to see what we've got. There is nothing for me to look at. In fact, I am going to update this chart. It's looking highly unlikely for a trade. Okay. So I like, you know what, I don't know why I just didn't copy. Yeah, I just didn't copy and paste that. Saved me a little bit of time. So, as I said, currently there's not looking much to do. However, where we have high impact news, that's where we can always expect some form of cracking correlation. Now, whether it's one supports my model, oh my lord, just leave it like that for now. Actually, let's not. Okay. Okay. Drop down to the hourly. I'm not that, to me, nothing at the highs as of yet. So I am going to fast forward to the next session. There's nothing for me to look at here, so I'm not going to dwell too much. And as you can see, there wasn't. So what do we have now? Which I'm just going to mark up some of the key elements. Okay, and there are no, as we can see, price rejected from the BPR, which is a interesting sign in itself. But in terms of a high probability trade setup for me, it is highly unlikely that something is going to form for me today for me to even remotely capitalize on. Alright, so got these two liquidity pools. They're the two key ones for me. We have got some hourly fair value gaps down here, but we've also got the 4 hour, and we've got a daily level. So just going to see what price wants to do. What I'm also going to do is just mark up okay. Right, so we're going to trade up to 8:30. See what price wants to do. Let that rock. By the way, that can come out because it's not really being utilised. So anything on the hourly? No. Apart from the BPR, which we can see supporting price higher, likelihood is this the highs are likely in the crosshairs. But let's have a look. Extremely interesting. what I mean about extra candle credits. Well, nothing. Yeah, nothing has altered this view. What's interesting is that displacement. This has sort of presented a quandary because you've got YM that purged the London high, ES and NQ failed, displaced lower following the equities open. So, to me, looking at YM, it kind of looks as though YM, well, it's purged that high, so YM should, in theory, seek lower prices, certainly attack that London low. Yeah, that's what should happen. YM's the interesting outlier because of the relative equal highs. You would one would think support of the market trading higher, and so if we now that the two of them have traded below their true week open, ES and NQ, that would support them from creating shorts. Whereas YM has already appears to have committed to the high side, therefore it doesn't need to close below. All right, let's just take this on a little bit further. Bear with me just 1 sec. I just want to go and just double check again that I haven't got anyone turning up at the house. Okay, definitely appears that no one is. Right, so let's move this forward, certainly to the high impact news, see what we get. So now we're heading into, oh, hold on. Oh dear. Okay, here we go. Now we're heading into the news. Okay, so we've seen this continuation, this follow through lower. Fine. Just going to drop out to the hourly. Should just see a sort of a candle lower. Yeah, this, I mean, there's no setup for me at the highs because they all purged their previous day's high. So, are there other techniques, if you will, for me to engage? Yes, but there was nothing there. There's nothing there for me to utilize. So we just allow price to sort of play itself out, right? In fact, what I would prefer is for this to trade lower down towards the previous day's low, which would then potentially present an opportunity in the coming days. So let me drop down to the 15 again. And we continue this. Oh, let's have a look. So we've still got low time frame SMT here with YM unwilling to trade lower. Now, because we've got this fair value gap here on NQ, we don't have a fair value gap on ES. The likelihood is, let me just go out to the hourly. Let's see if the hourly presents something. Not quite. However, we could well see a hourly fair value gap form here, which would then support the idea of NQ trading into its fair value gap before repricing lower. Whilst the other pairs, because there's no fair value gap at play, they're likely going to run some highs. So let's take a look. Hold on. It's 960. Alright, let's take the aligned one. Sod's law, this will be the earlier one. Okay. Okay, right. Let's see what ensues. Oh dear, these fans. I can only apologise. It's crazy to me. Looks like we should get the follow through lower. Potentially. Actually, one more. There we go. So now, relative to the hourly, so if we mark this up, if we're going to see lower prices, bear in mind that certainly on NQ we've traded below the BPR. We haven't on the others. We could see purge of the highs whilst that remains in its CB. If we see that, then we're likely going to see some lower prices. Oh, looks like NQ. Okay, 11:44. Likely going to be a PM setup. Oh, as you can see, as you can see, there's a tiny volume imbalance in there on NQ. YM, surprising that. Okay, so it's quite a shallow run, but nonetheless, I'm just going to mark up this here. Let's do that. And yeah, this has been a much longer session, just purely because you know, I focused a little bit of time on on the London session. So I'm going to continue this. You know, now technically it's out of my trading window. I don't particularly want to get involved in a trade in the New York PM session. I typically trade the New York PM session um, if um, if it's a continuation of the New York AM session, then I tend to trade the PM session, just more so from a management of trade perspective. I tend not to engage in trades during the PM session. Interestingly, now we can see, well, purge this hourly. Let's have a look at YM. See, YM hasn't actually purged, so maybe there was no requirement. Yeah, it's a bit of a real messy consolidation of a day, and it's not something that I would want to partake in. Do I think it's going to move? Just notice something. Do I think it's likely going to move lower? Yeah, there's a good chance of that. Again, I'm not looking at this with any real high probability conviction. But at the same time, right. And finally, yeah, so I'm not going to engage, but I suspect we'll probably move lower now. Well, pending whether YM wants to purge its highs. And if that's the case, you may even see ES just go for a deeper run above its highs. But let's have a look. So as you can see, this is just not price action I'd want to be involved in. It's just, do I think we'll still reprice lower? Probably, but I wouldn't want to be involved in it. Why do I think it will likely reprice lower? Because technically all members have purged the previous day's high in the liquidity pool of rest and above. But the reality is when you just look at this chop, you know, is there likely to be another run higher? This one's, you know, a deeper run, possibly. But for now, it's certainly low probability conditions. And for me, the moment all three members had purged the previous day's high, it represented lower probability conditions, let's put it that way. Still think NQ wants to reprice lower, as opposed to the other two, which clearly want to reprice higher before they reprice lower. And look at that. There we go. Deeper purge. Alright, I'm going to end it there. Going to end it there. A real scrappy day. Seek and destroy decisions. Low probability. It was high probability from a standpoint of swing points and liquidity pools and things like that. It was low probability the moment we saw market symmetry, no cracking correlation. That told me that we're likely to see low probability conditions, which we did, and ultimately the market has continued to reprice higher. So hopefully you took something away, looking over my shoulder, seeing how I was discerning the high time frame, low time frame, without pulling the trigger, seeing how I was able to identify where these were very unfavorable conditions to trade in. Ultimately, how I stayed out, my reasons why, what I felt price was likely to do based on the price action we had seen, and finally, ultimately, what did play out. So hopefully you took something away from that. I thought that this was actually a really good session, and I think there was a lot to take away, a lot for people to, document in their journals, notes, what have you, as means of identifying low probability conditions. I say this all the time. It's a bloody hell. What is going on with my screens on this computer? I say this all the time. It's really important to just bear with me. Not sure why my screens and everything have reset unless some form of Windows updates occurred during the night. That could certainly have occurred, I guess. But yeah, sorry, I was digressing. I say this all the time. You build your trading success through consistent journaling. It's the message from my channel, and through consistent journaling, it's about identifying low probability conditions versus high, knowing when to pull the trigger and when not to, when to sit on the sidelines and just wait for further information. Today, for me, I went through methodically why the conditions initially represented high probability conditions, but then the price action that was delivered changed my mindset to low probability conditions, advising me to stay out regardless of what transpired. If the market sold off from here, would I be bothered that I didn't get involved with the sales? No, because it didn't support my model. It didn't support it. So therefore, we do nothing. And we wait for an opportunity to present itself, maybe at the lows, whereby I'm now hunting the liquidity that has been engineered at the top of the market. So we just need to remain patient, wait for those setups, but more importantly, discern between high probability and low probability conditions, because that is probably a good 80% of the analysis that needs to be done before we even start contemplating trade ideas and trade entries and so forth. So hopefully you found something useful here, enjoyable, useful, and I will be taking a break, and then I'll probably catch you a bit later on today for another session on the Index Futures 2022 backtesting playlist. See you in the next one.